Into AfterBuzzTV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Goodman, and we're here for another episode of Shrill, Season 2, Episode 6. We have a ton to talk about with WAHAM, or let's see, Women Are Having a Moment. But before we dive in, I'm joined with Angele Taylor, our Shrill enthusiast.
Hey guys.
And we're going to talk about our Shrilled moment at the end and get into some of our predictions, so be sure to stay tuned until the end of the video. All right, Angela, let's just kind of dive in here.
Right.
Because there was so much. These are only 24, 25-minute episodes.
I know, I wish they were so much longer.
But we get so much crammed in.
Right.
Every minute counts. And so even just seeing the moment of Ryan taking Annie to the conference, I feel like it's starting to grow to a point between them where he is just not understanding anything she wants to do.
No, he's not understanding anything he wants to do or anyone else.
Yeah, and she legitimately said, hey, you could get a job. Isn't
that a thought?
Yeah, and he didn't really seem like he wanted to get one.
Nah.
I was like, okay, that's odd. But in any case, I think the bigger issue to me, one, is someone not working, but two, the fact that he wouldn't even understand what she's trying to do for her career.
Right.
Which is such a huge problem, not supporting your significant other with that.
Well, not even realizing that you're not supporting.
How frustrating.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
It's like you can't even be mad because he literally is ignorant of any like speck of information.
Yeah. He's just not a very deep person.
Right.
I think that's what it boils down to. He just doesn't understand so many things. And I think at the heart of Ryan, he's a good guy and he's nice. I mean, he obviously had his issues in the beginning.
I know. I'm trying not to call back to old Ryan, but it's really difficult.
If we look at the Ryan who she's actually been in a relationship with, we can say that he is genuinely a good person.
He genuinely loves her.
He does. And he has done things that are very positive, but just because he's doing so many good things doesn't mean that we can excuse what he's not doing.
Right.
And so we see that's just one like major moment we see between them, and I feel like it's building, but we very quickly are taken to the WAHAM conference. And we were talking about this before the show, where we meet Justine, who's played by Vanessa Bayer, who, for anyone not familiar, she has been on SNL. She's a pretty big name. And so it was pretty amazing to see her playing Justine. How did you think this moment was going to go when Annie sat down with her?
I didn't have any type of like knowledge of where it was going to go because I didn't know the character's personality. I didn't know if she was a snake or if she was genuinely like the real deal and for women's empowerment. So I really didn't have I didn't prejudge the moment. I just let it flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prejudged it, I think, because I watch on Hulu, and when I went in, they showed a screenshot of Justine. And it wasn't even anything that she said or, any particular look. It was pretty neutral. But the shot that they show of her in that, thumbnail, to me, it gave it away. I was like, what is her deal? This seems like a sketchy kind of person. So what I appreciated, though, is the commentary the episode had on the fact that just because it's an organization that is preaching for a very good cause does not mean that the organization is actually doing the right thing.
Like so many nonprofits.
Exactly. And
so many charities.
And what really stood out to me is that moment when, it all bubbled over because during this interview, which Annie's using for an article she's writing for Gabe, during this interview with Justine, she couldn't even address the price point on the tickets and how high it was. And we find out from, I guess,
my gosh, yes. The assistant.
Yeah. We find out from him or a manager. I'm not sure what title he had, but we find out from him that the one person who got the sponsorship to go for free couldn't make it anyway because she had to work. And isn't that the truth?
Yeah. So the writing is just brilliant and on point and such satire. And I just love the complexities of these issues that we deal with as women and how we are in this society today. And it was written by Saturday Night Live writer Sudie Green and directed by Natasha Lyonne. But it was like one of those things where you're like, oh my gosh, how did they articulate, like how did they're able to manifest it on screen so well, all of the complexities of the things we go through like in this society. It was brilliantly written.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the way that we do get humor. There's always some kind of comedic element, but then we get a very pseudo-serious moment too. And what stood out to me with Annie is as she was going around and seeing not only the cost of tickets, but there's leg makeup. There was were sorry to say this out loud, but sex toys that they were selling for like $150.
Yeah.
Everything that they're doing to basically, one, they're catering to richer women. That was very evident from the beginning. But what stood out to me was Annie. When we were watching her go around these people, and she very, very...
vendor by vendor.
Right. She was very serious. And what stood out to me is the fact that I felt like we were seeing Annie grow in the sense that talk about being very firm in her beliefs. She was calling these people out on what they were doing without directly attacking them.
Right.
In a very investigative way.
Yeah, because she saw that everyone felt like women need to be fixed in some type of way. So she wanted to make sure they were aware that, so you're telling, like, you're poking at our insecurities and you're telling us we're broken and we need to be fixed and this is how you become more perfect, or this is how you cover up your imperfections. And it was really counterintuitive given the organization. It was just crazy to watch.
Absolutely. So let's touch on the keynote. But before we do, Angele, did you have an announcement for everybody watching at home?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you guys, and thank you for allowing us to be the ESPN of TV Talk. And in order to continue giving you guys great content such as this, we need you guys to jump into the comments, give us thumbs up, subscribe. Any show you're watching, AfterBuzz covers. And if you're on iTunes, give us 5 stars. Jump into those comments too, because we love to call you out on our live chat right here on air. So tell your friends.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, and I know that Shrill, we only have a couple more episodes to cover for season 2, but we're both on other after shows as well, such as Outlander. You can see both of us there, so be sure to, if you miss us here, be sure to comment on the Outlander stuff as well, because we will both be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you guys.
On Sundays.
On Sundays, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the keynote address, and let's talk a little bit about Connie, because she is the woman who Annie ran into in the bathroom, and she was like a whole, I drank the blue Kool-Aid moment with her, because she was very like gung-ho about this. And it was funny because as a writer, I've been to a lot of writing conferences, and just even in writing conferences, and I've been to a lot of Comic-Cons, which is, different than this, but the writing conferences I've been to, it's the same kind of thing similar. Where they say, not in a good way though, not like this took the worst of what a conference could be, but with the writing conferences I've been to, it is about networking and getting to know people and making friends and learning from the different panels that you go to. So watching Connie, I was like, okay, well, some of what she's saying is true. It's just she's very extreme about this. And that's when she got up in the keynote, speech, which was totally, a bunch of BS from Justine. And, of course, as you can see, if you're not watching us on YouTube and you're listening on iTunes, there's a picture of Annie, basically her moment when she just completely...
She's like, something ain't right about this. This is weird and it feels wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact they wanted her to wear the shirt, and they were like, oh my God, well, it's a really, like...
large, smaller.
It was a very big medium. Oh my God. I was like, what? This lady... Yeah. But it was interesting because we see Connie stand up, and her big spiel was that she, really didn't do. I mean, she was saying that she was a work-at-home mom and loved it and really didn't work. It was more about it was more that Justine had convinced her to maybe try opening up her own business, but we don't know much more than that. It just seemed very, not more like she was obsessed with the idea of what women empowerment meant.
But she didn't totally grasp it.
Yeah, and it was more this cult that we were seeing, I hate to say it, but this, maybe not to this extreme, but there are tons of organizations out there where people just blindly go in and they love whoever the leader is, and it's like they aren't really thinking for themselves anymore.
Right, they just need someone to follow and tell them what to do.
Yeah. And that they think that they're, growing and doing all these amazing things, when the reality is they're not really, because it's just a bunch of, BS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hocus pocus going on.
So I found it interesting that they would have a play on these organizations that were kind of milking people for their money, because at $300 was the cheapest ticket.
Right.
And that's not to mention all the things you could buy at the conference.
Right.
That they were
and
pushing.
Women have children.
Yeah.
And how doable is that? Because we're expected to have kids and work and hold down the house and all these other things. Where are we going to get $300 of just conference money?
Yeah.
That's like lunch money for the kids.
Exactly.
For 2 months? What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So just that, it was 100% catered to a female from a certain social class.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, with the time we have left, let's get to our shrilled moments. Angele, what was your favorite moment of this episode?
My favorite moment of the episode would have to be, it was a butt clenching moment when Annie sat down with Justine, and the assistant already told Annie she really didn't have any time to talk to her, and Annie had such a long intro. I'm like, Annie, get to it. And then finally she runs out of time, and the assistant's like, okay, it's over with. And then Justine's like, okay, we'll give her a minute. And it was just one of those moments where I'm like, Annie, dial in and get to the meat and potatoes of the content. Get the content from her. I want to know now. What is she about? So that was one of the moments where I'm talking to the television, because it was like she was doing a Ryan to me.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Absolutely.
Just rambling.
Yeah. I'm going to say my favorite moment was near the end. We didn't touch on this, but Amadi back at the Thorn, he ends up firing someone, and Gabe was like, oh, well, I enjoy this. Okay, so Gabe, why did you not do the firing?
Right.
But then also at the end where Ryan gets a job at the Thorn, and that was another favorite moment for me, because I was like, yep, this is where everything crashes and burns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Annie
That's never a good idea.
And Annie, poor Annie.
Never a good idea. Your boyfriend at your job? No.
And
I'm good.
I could see if you're there are power couples out there who do the same thing and they can work together and it's fine. But Ryan and Annie should not work together. And
Yikes.
Yeah. Well, all right. So, Angele, we have a couple minutes left. Mm-hmm. Do you have predictions?
My prediction is...
AfterBuzzTV
well, there you go. My prediction for the next episode following this one is that... it's basically the same thing. I really feel a disconnect between Ryan and Annie, and I think it's just going to get worse, and the disconnect is going to get much larger.
Yeah.
And more apparent to her, because I think she's questioning, and I think it's going to become a reality for her that this is not the way to go.
Yeah.
Because him at her job, it could be a snowball from here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I just feel like Ryan's going to do something dumb, and it's going to potentially cost Annie her job. So
yeah.
That's I'm just going to leave it there until we reconvene for the next episode. Until then, Angele, where can everybody find you?
Hey guys, you can find me on all social media platforms at Angele Taylor _.
And I'm Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter at Rach Goodman or on my author Instagram account at Rachel Radner Author. Well, we've got 2 more episodes of Season 2 left to discuss. Join us next time where we break down Episode 7. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzzTV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzzTV or its owners or principals.